Yo, what is going on, guys? Welcome to the video. I'm finally bringing you guys a bit of a update on my bindings and my settings. I've been waiting a while to release this video because I really wanted to perfect them so that what I gave to you guys was something that I plan on sticking with for a long time, probably like the entire length of season 9. It's just something I wanted to work on and iron out before I passed on to you guys. Before I get into that, guys, I do want to talk about this great new partnership that I have with ProGuides.com. They're a really great learning resource for you guys if you do want to improve your Fortnite ability. They show detailed breakdowns of the brand new patches, what you can expect with changes to weapons, stat breakdowns on the weapons themselves. They also feature pro courses from pro players, and they're adding more and more every week to the website. You'll see more and more players who have qualified for the World Cup dropping courses on ProGuides.com that you yourself can watch and learn from. Mongrel himself even has a 10-part course that really focuses on improving your core Fortnite skills. So overall, my settings are pretty much the same as they've always been. I actually run all low settings. I just had them up for a thumbnail capture. I have show FPS typically on as well. Running everything on 1920 x 1080. Again, you can't run stretch, so that's kind of not applicable anymore. Here's the real juice. I'm on 0.61 XY. I really feel like I have a lot of control over my aim at this point without really sacrificing too much with build speed, because I actually run my controller at building sensitivity now at a 2.0. Basically, this is a multiplier of your base XY sensitivity. So if your building sensitivity is at a 2, that means that I'm actually building at about a 1.2 or a 12, whichever you want to kind of call it. Same thing with my edit mode sensitivity. I keep these consistent. I keep these the exact same. Yeah, basically I build and edit at a very high speed. I also have a higher targeting sensitivity than most people. I have a 0.607 targeting and a 0.67 scoped. Again, these are just coefficients of your base XY. So if you rock a 1 controller XY, you know, or like a 10, basically if you have like my targeting sensitivity, even if you have 0.607, it's not going to be the same. You multiply them together to get the exact same, or to get the ADS sensitivity. I know it's a little confusing. Other than that, I don't think there's anything too much different. I keep edit mode aim assist on. That's very important. I have toggle sprint and sprint by default off. I really like to be in control of my sprint with my joystick. I know a lot of people like sprint by default on. That's totally fair. I just don't personally like it. I have sprint cancels reloading off. Turbo building obviously on. Turbo build build immediately. I have that on. Auto material change on. Auto run off. Open doors off. I actually saw a clip of some guy getting stuck opening and closing doors. You definitely want to keep that off. I also have auto sort consumables off. I like to have a utility tool in my farthest slot to the right. I don't like to have a healing mechanic there, so that's why I have that off. Brightness I just have at 0.5. Again, it doesn't really matter, depends on your monitor. I don't have any of my colorblind settings changed. I've heard that if you change it to Deuteranope and put it on setting 5, it allows you to see through the storm really easily. I personally don't like the way the game looks, but I've heard that helps you see through the storm, so it's something to think about. But I just personally don't have it on because I like the way the game looks with it off. And here's the real juice. We're into the controller binding. So I run a really weird setup. I talked about this briefly in my last video. Shout out to Raider Fortnite and Flea, and I think Beaks as well. They talked about that yesterday, actually, or they talked about it previously. But I use, the first thing I'll talk about is edit mode tandem. So I edit on D-pad, but I actually confirm with R1 and select with R2. So basically, when you're doing your edits, this allows you to hit 3 different buttons and do like a tandem edit. So you can grab the edit, select the edit, and confirm the edit all on different buttons, and it allows you to hit it faster. So quick shout out to Flea, Raider, and Beaks. They actually made videos on that previously before me that are really good rundowns. I'll link their channels in the description. But yeah, that's how I edit. I also have crouch bound in editing. Other than that, I think things are pretty much solid. I also reset with R3. Again, a completely different button. I just find that helps me keep things from getting confused. I know some people like to edit on L2 or even L1. Again, it doesn't really matter. The most important thing about your edit binds is to make them separate. Make sure that you can do them in a tandem, by hitting multiple buttons, you can kind of do it in a sequence, and it allows you to hit the edit buttons faster. My dead zones are 0.19 on the left stick, 0.13. Just personally like it. It helps me avoid controller drift. I think if you're going to rock sprint by default, you're going to want to lower your left joystick more significantly. I think it can go all the way down to 0.5, so you're probably going to want to consider that if you run sprint by default. Just something to think about. Just going to go back to my combat binds here again. Everything's pretty standard. I run claw grip, which means that I have my index finger on the front of the controller. So basically, I like switching forward or toggling forward with triangle, and then I toggle backwards with R1 and crouch with L1. This right here is the most underrated part of my binds, in my opinion. Crouching on a button that is easy to hit, most people crouch on R3. Crouching on L1 is goated, dog. It's so good because you can just bobble in and get that accuracy bonus of crouching. For those who don't know, your guns actually shoot more accurately when you are crouched. I feel like people are always commenting on my streams, on my videos, like, how are you beaming these kids? What do you mean? And then if they send me a clip of their own gameplay, they're not crouched. Crouch, dog. It's important. For my builds, everything is pretty standard. Again, my edit is on down. I place traps with square. I change materials with triangle. I think that's pretty much all standard. I repair with R3. Yeah, the only thing I will say is that you gotta watch out for the floor piece and for toggle backwards if you do use my binds. Because when I'm editing, I confirm on R1. So you got to be diligent. Make sure you're not just spamming confirm on edits, because if you do, you'll either be placing a floor piece or swapping backwards in your weapon. So keep an eye on that. Make sure you're not spamming that. It kind of goes for any confirm button. Make sure you're not going to be either like firing your weapon or swapping your weapons or doing something. Make sure you're being very clear and not panicked with your edits. Other than that, that's pretty much it. I think that's all my binds. Hope you guys found the video helpful. If you do, you can smash the like button for me, and you can use code Upshall in the Fortnite item shop to support the stream dream. Bless up, dudes.